So we're continuing with Superman Silver Age Dailies with the Great Superman Hoax Part 2. Look, Superman, Professor, whoever you are, that hydrant has burst. The streets will be flooded. Do something. But what can I do, Miss Lane, except notify the water department? Good grief, the hydrant is smoking and with heat and melting, as if Superman's X-ray vision were focused on it. Sst! And now the melted, twisted metal has choked off the water. Now do you dare deny that you are Superman? Confess, Professor, admit you're Superman, and that you used your X-ray vision to prevent a disaster. I don't think it would have been a disaster. You melted the hydrant with your X-ray vision to choke off the water and prevent the streets from being flooded. Admit you're Superman. Really, I don't understand what happened. Unless the hydrant metal was defective and disintegrated under the stress. Later, as Lois tells Perry and Clark of the super feat. My supervision shows me the hydrant was electronically rigged to burst and also melt down when Juris twisted a lab dial. It was all a prearranged gimmick to convince Lois he has superpowers. It's amazing how it all fits, Perry. The professor looks like Superman. He's got the same physique. He's an electronic genius like Superman, a master of makeup. He works with robots. He's got to be Superman. Suddenly, from Perry White's radio, we interrupt this broadcast to summon Superman. Jewel thieves are making a getaway from Peerless Gem Store on Main Street. Listen, a job for Superman. Oh, get the police. The professor must be switching to his Superman identity now. I'll rush over to the lab and surprise him when he returns in his Superman costume. And while Lois chases off, I'll slip away and change to the real Superman. Hurrying into an empty storeroom at the planet, Clark Kent removes his outer garments, changing into the dynamic identity of Superman, now to catch the jewel thieves. Meanwhile, Juris Electronics Inc., please, on Barclay Street. When I surprise Professor Juris returning to his laboratory in his Superman costume after he captures those jewel thieves, he'll have to admit he's the Man of Steel. A minute later, it's Superman. Fire, duck, fire. You're crazy. Joe, bullets only flatten themselves against Superman. He's invulnerable. As Superman grabs the frightened thugs, rats belong in sewer pipes. Wait, what are you stuffing me in this sewer pipe? Or why are you? I'm rolling you down to the nearest police station. Not long after, as Lois watches the Juris laboratory, funny, the professor hasn't budged from his microscope for 10 minutes. He can't be Superman if he didn't answer the alarm, and yet, I'll go inside and get a close look at him. Through the lab window, I saw Professor Juris sitting in the same position before his microscope for 10 minutes. There's something peculiar going on in there, and I intend to find out what it is. Superman did it again, folks. As bullets bounced harmlessly off his chest, he calmly captured 2 jewel thieves. So this is how the professor can be in 2 places at the same time. This is a dummy figure. A tricky professor. As Lois curiously enters one of the rooms Professor Juris had begged her not to explore. Goodness, it's full of Superman robots, also robots of all his friends, Perry White, Jimmy Olsen, and even me. And as she enters the next mystery room, gasp! Makeup, materials, wigs, costumes, everything needed to create new identities. And those pictures, those super souvenirs. Oh my gosh, this is super proof of the professor's secret identity. This is Superman's trophy room. But an even greater shock awaits Lois in the next room. Good heavens, all these pictures and statues of me are inscribed by Superman with love. How wonderful. I not only have proof that Professor Juris is Superman, but that Superman loves me. Miss Lane, I told you to keep out of those rooms. I told you not to explore those rooms. You have disobeyed me. Professor Juris, darling Superman, why didn't you tell me before how much you cared? Oh, this is the happiest day of my life. You brushed my pocket handkerchief. I seem to have dropped something. As Lois hastily picks up the object, a flattened bullet. Why, this must be one of those criminals' bullets, which the radio announcer said bounced off Superman's invulnerable chest. Oh, I'm so happy. I've not only proved that Professor Juris is Superman, but I now know from the adoring inscription he wrote on the statues and pictures of me that he loves me. But presently, after Lois leaves, Juris receives some gangland visitors. Well, boys, I've convinced Lois Lane I'm Superman. Now she'll go back and convince Perry White of it, too. Never suspecting that I tricked her, I wrote that anonymous letter to White. Ha! Snap up the switch that picks up every word spoken in White's office. I want to hear what happens when Lois Lane tells him the big news. Okay, boss, sure was smart of you to plant that mic in White's office, like having plastic surgery done on your face to make you resemble Superman. It was a stroke of genius. Click. Later in Perry's office. So, Chief, that tip was straight. I have complete proof that Professor Juris is Superman. Good. Then we must help Juris in every way possible. Next time I see him, I'll offer him the red kryptonite locked in my lead-lined safe. At the same time in Juris's lab. Maybe he can find an antidote for red kryptonite. Strange, unpredictable effects. It can cause him to suffer amnesia, give him hallucinations, even split him in two. The stuff's bad for Superman. Haha, hear that? I sure do, boss. Our hoax is paying off. I'm going to go into White's office now and pick up that red kryptonite. At the Daily Planet, editor Perry White has a surprise caller. Professor Juris, I was just thinking about you. I've been saving some red kryptonite to give you for experiments in discovering an antidote against it. Why don't you take it with you? Why, sure, Professor. Perry, provided it's lead-coated, so its rays don't harm me. In that case, pick up the whole lead-lined safe and fly off with it. After all, what's a mere 1,000 pounds to someone with super strength? Me pick up that safe? You're crazy. He means he can't do it because he's not Superman. You're an imposter, Juris. For the past 2 hours, I've been observing you and your hoods with my X-ray vision and superhearing. I heard your discussion about the plastic surgery and how you wired Perry's White's office. Here's the mic. As for Juris's powerful physique, it's nothing but padding. Juris deliberately hoaxed me into believing he, Superman, was in love with me. How he must have been laughing up his sleeve at me all the time, the phony. As I told Lois and you, Perry, Juris himself wrote that anonymous letter. The doorknob bit, the rigged hydrant, the dummy, the flattened bullet, everything was planned act to convince Lois he was Superman. Knowing you were tuned in via the mic, Juris and I had White speak about red kryptonite so that you'd be lured here to get it. You hoped to sell it for a fortune to criminals to use against me. Bosh, you can't arrest me. I didn't steal the stuff. It was given to me. And I never said I was Superman. You did. You've got no case. I was too clever for you. Has that slippery crook succeeded in outwitting Superman? As Superman flies, the phony scientist. So, you think there's no case against you, eh? Remember that hydrant you melted, Juris? You'll be arrested for destroying public property. That'll keep you locked up till I collect enough evidence to keep you in jail for years. I don't think that's something people get locked up for. I think that's more of a fine. Groan, me and my hoaxes. Maybe the 60s were different. And so, next day, Lois, why are you staring off into space? Since the professor isn't Superman, I wonder who is. Naturally, it couldn't be you. You only look exactly like Superman. So that leaves everybody else in Metropolis as a suspect. Listen, a news bulletin. And Air Force observers agree that the mystery object which has just landed on Earth is a spaceship, most probably from another world. I liked this story. I liked a lot about it, but I don't really understand what Juris's plan was. The whole red kryptonite was just a lure for him. I don't know what he intended to get out of it, but I still did enjoy the story.